Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend, and I am back. It's Sunday, November 13th, 2022. A year goes by, and I'm out of dates. Welcome, welcome. I hope everybody is doing well. Hang on. Sorry, I just want to make sure it wasn't somebody for the live. So I hope everybody's doing well. I am just trucking along, doing readings privately and publicly. It is finally a cold day outside. It feels like fall. It's been in the 70s here. It's been kind of interesting. Not like regular weather. Hi, Dune. So I have two people on the list right now. I've got Devery and Cindy, each with 2 questions. Devery, are you here? Because I feel like one of your questions isn't really, it's, I'm going to let you have another question on top of it, because I feel like I'm not necessarily using my psychic abilities for it. I'm using my friend abilities. So I hope that's okay. Cindy, welcome. You are next on the list. And I didn't see if you wrote any questions or not. So I hope everybody's well. As always, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only. I'm not a doctor, lawyer, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. My plants are looking sad. Please forgive their plant owner for being terrible. I've decided I'm going to do something with this, and I want to get like a little corner plant stand and put more plants, because why not kill more plants while I can? And then I found these really cool hooks for some of the things that I want to hang up in the background, and we'll see how that works. I wanted to do something different where I hung plants on. I don't know, y'all. I am not a decorator, but somehow I'm thinking my plant skills are going to get better. Oh, you didn't. Oh, who did? Someone did. Whoop. Okay, it's not you, Cindy. Yeah, you did. Oh, you didn't include the question. I'm sorry. You didn't include the questions. I want to, right? So really it's like I bought little things, but these are like, oh, it's supposed to last watering for like 2 days. They don't. I need to like refresh all the soil in these, and I need to repot them in something differently and all of that stuff. And then I want to I need to find a better way to do it. And then I've got like one of those arrow gardens to grow herbs and stuff, and you can grow lettuce. And I usually just give it all to my bunny because she's a green eating machine. But I need to move that upstairs so that I'm like more on top of it, because I had it down here in the basement, but now we're going to get rid of all of our fish tanks and stuff because my husband kills all the fish, and I won't let him get any more fish because we'll just be killing them. I feel like that's rude. Hi, Allie. Okie doke. I tried doing lives on TikTok, and it's very different than doing them here. Because also I don't know like the whole platform over there. And so like, it's like, I don't know. It's just different. So I have like a notification out to do live. So if any of you are around and you just want to join, and like, I'm not charging for it over there, I'm just trying to get used to the thing, and I'm hoping whatever, but, I will be moving towards something over there where it's not free. But if you're on TikTok and you want to join me, it's Tuesday at noon. Just letting you know. On Monday, I'm going to be on my friend Tony's show again, Anthony Pico, Cosmic Tuesdays, but it's on Mondays, and it's earlier now. So if you're on the East Coast, it's easier to catch. Or if some of you or watch me from Ireland, so I know it's easier to catch me. It's like not too late over there for you. And I think it's at 8. I tried posting a thing in the community, but he's got it sized differently. So I have to mess with that a little bit in order to get it to fit. Let me look at, where did he send it to me at? Let me look at the time again, and I can give it to you guys. It's Monday, 8 to 9:30. And I should know that because he asked me to be ready for the Zoom at 7:45. So I will be on his show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And we're going to talk about, so I'm going to talk a little bit about like the divine feminine rising, like this whole idea of that, what that means, and how like stuff's shifting. And he sort of asked me to also do some like what I see coming, which I see. It's so sad. She really needs water. Oh, she's so depressed. Okay. We'll wait for you, Allie. You know I can talk anyway. So yeah, Deborah, are you here yet? I know June's here, Cindy's here, maybe Deborah's not here yet. Cindy, if you want to start asking your questions, you can. I'm gonna try and focus on. I've already decided, like over there when I do the readings on Tuesday, I'm gonna say no relationship readings, only because you get people like somebody like out of the bat was like, "Is my husband cheating on me?" And I'm like, "Oh." And I think for free readings, those are the ones that are like, I don't mind doing those in the private space, like looking at your relationship and all of that. And I don't mind doing it when you pay me for it. But for free, I always feel like you get that, like the people who are like in a totally different energy space and not really looking for solutions. They're just looking to ease their anxiety, I guess. That's okay. I don't mind answering that question. I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. They've also got a subscription thing over there too. So I don't know. I'm going to see. I'm just trying different platforms, spread myself out, see what I like, what works. It's so quiet here and I don't have the SEO and all of that stuff. And maybe if I just did free readings and I did more videos here, it would work better, but I just can't quite figure out where my brain's at. So, okay. So when would you purchase your next home and will it be with your spouse? I'm getting November. So I know everybody's talking about like the, well, if you follow any of like the market stuff and housing, blah, 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 I feel like it'll kind of start to balance out by the end of next year. So I don't know if you start looking in November or you were actually in contract in November. They're like, start looking. So I feel like towards the end of next year is when you start looking. And I really feel like it's just because it's like a squeeze for space. It's like, we need to find something bigger or I'm going to like explode. I feel like you will be moving with him, but I don't feel like his name's on the contract. So I feel like it's in your name, but you will be moving with him. My eyebrows like reflecting light weird. So like when I do this, I have a full eyebrow. When I do this, I kind of don't. I have like I was going to say a Deadpool scar, but like like some hockey players have that too. I guess they got hit in the face. Mm-hmm. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that's not what you want to hear. So I will tell you that I am the getter ritter ever. Like I love donating stuff from the house. Only because I think before I was a travel nurse, I did not like donating. I was like, oh, I gotta keep on it. I was like, kind of like, I wasn't a hoarder, but I was like, what if I need it? And then when I started as a travel nurse, I put my entire apartment in storage for 2 years. And after 2 years, all I took out of it was 5 boxes. And I realized, like the ding dong that I am, not a ding dong, that, you know, me with I ams, I realized that, I could have bought my furniture over 3 times again for the amount of money that I paid for storing it. So, and then I was like moving, like on top of having most of my stuff in storage, I was moving anywhere from every 3 to 6 months because I'd have to take time off or they'd change apartments or whatever. Or I changed companies at a point, even though I was all up in New York doing traveling. I didn't want to go anywhere else to travel. I just wanted to be in New York City. So, um, I don't know. So anyway, my husband though, like, I'm like, you have 85 million shirts. Even the dry cleaner lady was like, your husband has a lot of shirts. I'm like, I know. Like, I know. Well, okay, so New York, what? Hi, Chaley. Oh, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude. That's actually kind of nasty. I didn't see the hello. So, but hi, welcome. Um okay, so that was my answer for you. What was your second question? I just didn't see it, Chaley, so it's not personal. It's not that I don't like you. I'm sorry you're having a bad day to respond that way. I hope it gets better for you. Do you think I'm asking this because I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you what they're showing me right now, Cindy, because you asked, and I always say this back just in case, because some people watch these back and they don't watch the chat or they don't have the chat on. That's okay, Chaley. I recognize that about people. That's why I didn't take it personal because I know I've had bad days too. So that's cool. We all have bad days. It's okay. We all have bad days. I really do. Like, I genuinely want people to have a good day. I genuinely recognize when people are lashing out, it's because something's going on with them. I know it's happened for me too. So we're all good. Thank you for giving me a chance. So Cindy, I keep seeing, the way I see it is like, I feel like they've got you in a closet right now, or you're in a closet. Like, it's like small, dark little, like, did you ever watch Joe versus the volcano? It's just really old. It's okay. One apology is good. Hi, Rathka. Okay, so in Joe versus the volcano, he works in this really like it's an officey place where it's like those terrible fluorescent lighting, and it's just like there's no excitement. Like my walls and my dead dying plant. And I just feel like it's like this, like they stuck me in a closet. So, and I don't know if it's like an interim place because I feel like it's an interim for 6 months. Like I'm maybe in a holding spot for 6 months. So I don't know if they're updating stuff. Okay, good. I was like, that's why I feel like I'm in a closet because there is no windows. It's like a little, okay. Oh, 1650 monthly. I'm like blown away. I'm always blown away like by what people charge, but I guess because my brain is back in the 1980s and 1990s where it was like $500 to rent a townhouse. Not in New York, obviously. I'll be. You're in a 3-year lease. So I don't know if the feeling I get is like it's a holding place for like 6 months. So I don't know if something opens up where they have a better thing. Or if they're renovating the rest of the building and then opening it up, but it's like this feeling of a holding space for 6 months. Do you know if they're renovating the rest of the building and something else opens up? or someone moves out, but it's something like about 6 months being in a holding space. Like, ugh, my nose is itchy. Um, I don't feel like it's permanent. You could get like a poster, one of those like cheesy posters where it's like the beach scene and it has like a window with it. I'm kidding. I don't know. It just feels like a holding space for 6 months is the feeling I get, and then either they offer you a different, either somebody moves out or they've done some renovations and they can give you a different space. But I get this feeling of renovations. 1650 is insane. It's insane. Also, have you watched those apartment things where they're like, look at this great space in New York City that someone made their home, and it's like a shoebox, and they're like, and look, they have like half a sink and one of those, like the fridge is the size of one of those makeup fridges, and they're like, and everybody's like, there's no toilet. It's like, it's a shared bathroom down the hall. I'm like, well, no wonder COVID got so bad. Like everybody's okay, so that's what I was feeling. It just was real small and closety, just like Joe versus the volcano. Yeah. Um, Also Joe versus the volcano was like Meg Ryan and I think it's Meg Ryan. Shannon and Tom Hanks. And don't be angry with yourself, Chaley. It's totally okay. Okay. And okay, so I will tell you this. Sometimes there's like a 30-second delay, or I start rambling and I don't look at that because especially when I'm doing readings, I can't look at that or it's distracting because then someone will ask a question and then it pulls me. Since you're new here, so you know how I work. So I will look off and sometimes I will miss stuff. So everybody who's been here for a while knows like, hey, I said something, or they'll repeat it, and so it's nothing personal. It's just like, even when you do a personal, like an in-person private reading with me, I don't really look at you a lot. And I actually don't like when anybody talks too much. It's perfect for a neurodivergent person because I can just talk at you and tell you everything that my brain is going. Okay. All right, great. And you weren't. Don't like, we don't have to call ourselves names. You don't have to like, do not go so far and heavy on yourself. You don't have to do that. It's everybody is allowed to be human and make mistakes and all of that. How are you, Miss Rothka? Okay. Are you here yet, Devry? Are you around? And I know Allie's waiting on her mom. I will see if anybody else purchased a reading. I have one here, but I don't think that this is your screen name, so I want to make sure. What's your novela? What is your screen name? Oh, Chaley, you did. Okay. I got you then. Do you want to ask your question? You're very welcome, Cindy. I hope your pregnancy is going pretty well. Oh, my ramble about the laundry was like, yeah, I get it. I mean, there's stuff my husband has like 1,000 CDs, and I got tired of them being in a box. So I organized them all and put them in these other boxes and put them in a closet. And I don't think in the 10 years we've lived here, he's even looked at them. Got to keep them all. And he has like 1,000 DVDs, and all my stuff is in like a zip binder. And I was like, can we just put them in one of these instead of taking up the wall? But we can't. So I alphabetized them all. He uses them not so much anymore, but sometimes. I don't know. People are funny with their stuff. I saw somebody say something today about when they're getting rid of stuff. Chaley, I'm just waiting for your question. Oh, here you are. How does my love life look these next 3 months? Okay. So this is interesting to me. So I asked them, and I feel like in a month I get butterflies, right? I have butterflies. And so that's like the beginning and interest to peak. My interest is peaked in somebody else. There's like that flirting period. But then I feel this like a wall. It's not a wall the way I feel it, but that's the only way I can describe it. And so I was like, well, what's like, it doesn't go past that. And I feel like it's not because I honestly feel like you're blocking it. Not like, oh, you're such a bad person, but I feel like there's a lot of hesitation to make yourself vulnerable and open up to the possibility of that relationship. Um, I don't want to say like I don't want to I use a lot of words and I don't want to be like, oh, it's a buzzword, but it's like there is a lot of history of narcissistic trauma and unbalanced relationships, and so it's like that avoidant behavior. um okay, so this is the fun part, this isn't the psychic part, and then I'm going to just spout something at you. You take it for what it's worth and know that I'm coming from a good place when I say this. I always wonder why somebody wants an ex back, and I say that because if they weren't able to show up for you, what makes you think they're going to change? I don't know. So I really believe in belief systems like the law of assumption. I am. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot. And I talk a lot about self concept because in all of the readings that I've done readings professionally for 13 years, and like my own spiritual journey to figuring out and healing my own stuff. Your perception of yourself and your belief system in yourself is everything. And if you don't feel you're worthy and valuable, you will always allow people into your life who do not respect your boundaries. So working on your belief system for yourself is a lot of repetitive thought process of like, I am powerful, I am amazing, I am deserving, I am worthy, I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm smart, like all the I am stuff that we say. Like that's why I say what follows I am is really important. Too many people do not love themselves for a variety of reasons, but like to think that you're not lovable or deserving of loving yourself is a lie. And I feel like it's instituted through religion, it's instituted through society, all kinds of things. And I feel like, and it's not to be conspiracy theory, but like they do enough psychological studies on like if you make somebody feel like something's needed, then they'll buy your product, all that kind of stuff. And so I think religion has done it. You know, if you make somebody feel like they need you in order to like get to their higher place, and then they have to tithe and they have to do all these other things, like they create a belief system. Um, yeah. So it's not that you are a terrible person and they're reflecting terrible, like they're reflect that whole mirror thing, like, oh, the people just reflect who you are. Somebody interpreted that incorrectly. And I believed that for a long time. And then I always struggled with, but I'm not a bad person. So this behavior is, you're saying I'm a bad person? KK, I owe you a response. I'm sorry I didn't get it back to you. So So I believe like the mirror is your little person in here, your thought person in here is your script writer, your screenwriter for your movie. And this avatar is your main character. And so if you think about the way a movie is written, right? Think about rom-coms, right? They write it and they're like, okay, so the character description is she's like a little odd and quirky and like doesn't feel good about herself and doesn't feel noticed and like always dresses that way and always feels that way or whatever. And so like every character and every experience within that movie has to show up and reflect this description about this main character until the prince comes along and he notices she's actually really beautiful because she took her glasses off and she brushed her hair or straightened it or whatever stupid thing they come up with. So your main character right now, your script is like, you're not worthy, you're not deserving, you don't deserve to have boundaries, you're needy if you ask for boundaries and ask people to respect them, like whatever that is. And so the world has to pop up around you because the universe goes free will, baby. Like even the Bible says, God says free will. I know you don't. I'm just like rambling because then it tells the stories for anybody else who's listening that might need it. So if that's what's happening, you can recreate that and change your belief systems. So you may not go, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, but it'll show up in a whole bunch of different ways. And maybe not in that direct thought pattern, but it's like a silly example is like, I was like, I'm going to buy a ticket for the $1 billion lottery. My mom was like, oh, but then you'd have to pay taxes. Like that would be a belief system that stops her from having abundance, because if I'm abundant, then I have to pay taxes on it. So I'll stop at a certain level where I feel comfortable. Or your family might have taught you that you're not entitled to your feelings. I'm the adult. You're not entitled to your personal space. And so that gets carried out through life. Oh, Jesus. I would love to pick your brain. I'm just saying, like, so I know, maybe you do all this, but I do like to complete the thought only because somebody else might need to hear this. That's just listening. Yeah. So then if you know that, like, then if you like, there's that idea that like you can change your belief systems and change your belief system around him if you really want him back. I don't see that happening. I feel like I get the butterflies in like a month and then I'm like blocked off from it. So I don't see like a relationship blooming in 3 months. You can change that through your free will, through your belief systems and creating that. I could be totally full of shit and wrong. I don't think I'm full of shit, but I can be wrong. And I fully admit that. It's just the feeling I get. I don't feel a full relationship coming in. There's something about June of 2023, and then there's something about October of 2023. So maybe you meet, you're kind of dating, and you're not exclusive until October. And I just feel like because there's a lot of work that you do in between here and there, I also feel like whoever this is coming in isn't in your circle of energy, isn't in your circle yet, isn't in your, like, they either aren't living in the area yet or aren't available. But it feels more like they're moving there. And honestly, I feel like he may be either a therapist or somebody who's done a lot of the emotional work, because it feels like I'm either a therapist or I'm a counselor or whatever, like who's done more emotional work and growth. Are you pregnant? Like right now? Pee on a stick. I just want to know what that question is. No, I feel like, do feel bloated and like my hormones are off, but I don't feel like you're pregnant. Um, so I feel like whoever this is coming in has done a lot of the work. No, that wasn't for you. So whoever this is coming in and next year has done a lot of the work. Again, I can be wrong, and I am super happy being wrong. I'm okay to be wrong. I didn't feel it. I have a hard time with pendulums personally. I see people use them. Oh, my sad plant. Um, because I like science and I realize like micro movements of muscles. So I like the idea of pendulums. I even have this little one here and I have another one somewhere put away because I'm like, I'm gonna try it again. But like honestly, I like there's micro movements and subconscious, all that stuff. So I'm like, I don't think I can do one. What's funny to me is your persona here feels very different than when I read your name on the payment. And so I don't know if that means you're a Gemini or you're very careful about how you present yourself. Like you don't let a lot of people in. I mean, I believe you. It's like, I just wonder if when you use the novela, if you like, it's like the idea of like, maybe I present myself more. This is more fun and this is my more reserved. Um, Deborah, are you here? And Allie, are you back? Oh, oh, okay. Rafka, if you want to ask your question. Your mom put it on your birth certificate and no one calls you it. Yeah. You're very welcome, Chaylee. I hope your day gets better. Okay, Rafka. So the first thing I felt is like finding more space to meditate. Like your energy feels light, but then my jaw felt tight. So I don't know if you've been grinding or if your TMJ is worse. I just Dune, I haven't written it in a second because there's not really a whole lot of people. So who I have left is, but I don't know where Devry's at. So I just put question marks. Devry has 2, and then Allie went to go pick up her mom from work, but she's got 1. And then Rothka is going right now. So that's it. Um, okay, but does the jaw thing make sense? And also, I'm having a hard time. Like, I don't do a lot of meditating, but I'm like this. Like, the energy's weird lately, and I know people are gonna be like, "It's the 11:11 portal. It's this." I don't know what it is. I just assume I'm going through a lot, and it's probably my own stuff. Your jaw. Okay. Does Nikki also is she like is she sick right now or something else going on? Just I feel like so it's this feeling of so like they kind of started talking like that. They're talking about other things, and they're talking about they're kind of bringing in your sorry didn't mean to mention the name when you didn't want to. Um, she's getting checked out. Okay. Um, so I felt like a lot of quiet between the two of you, like not like the communication's a little harder right now. And I don't feel like you're physically distanced from each other, but it just feels like dancing around each other a little bit instead of connecting and finding a hard time having being able to talk about it. I just want to look at the words of the Smashing Pumpkin song that just popped in my head. So I know. Um, hang on. Okay. Yes. That's what I'm picking up on. So the very first, I want to say this, what I heard was like, that Smashing Pumpkin song, "The world is a vampire sent to drain secret destroyers." So it says, "Hold you up in flames, but what do I get for my pain? Betrayed desires and a piece of the game." Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cool and cold. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. So it's just sort of like when I hear something like that. So if you're wondering if you don't know how I read, sometimes when I get the song, it gives me a different picture just through that song. So it's just this feeling of don't think that because everything has been hard that this is going to be hard. There's a way to communicate about it and move around it without destroying your relationship. But not talking will destroy it. Not listening will destroy it. So instead of approaching it in the sense of like, well, we know we both have this, what feels safe for you? What feel like, I'll add you. Hold on, Dune. Hold on. I'm in the middle of a reading. I promise I saw I'll add you. Okay, Allie, hold on. So, I wanna I like the logical side of me is like, do couples counseling, but work with someone who's like specializes in trauma recovery and all of that. Because even though you've done the work, I feel like there needs to be like somebody that works between you to hold the space for both of you together instead of doing it separately, like to somehow help you navigate that together. Maybe it wasn't the right person. That's my logic side of it. I feel like the first, I don't know how many years you're in yet, but it's like the first 2 to 3 years feels like it's going to be harder, and then it starts to be more smoother sailing. Um, and some of it is they're saying to me is like some of it is really just pushing past the fear because you're each so afraid of hurting the other and each so afraid of like making yourself so super vulnerable. Um, there's also something else coming up for her right now that feels like it's not related to health issues. It's like a time of year that brings up a lot of um, sadness for her, grief, regret. So I don't know if there was a big loss at this time or if it's like a trigger response to some of the trauma she's been through. But it's like this time of year in particular is a tough, and it will be tough pretty much every year. You're going to see that cyclical pattern come up, and it's like a 2 to 3 month period right around now, and then she's better. So, and I don't want to go, oh, it's like it's from the not enough sunlight, blah blah blah. It's not that. It's directly related to her own stuff. I do feel like down the road a little bit, it gets better in the sense that, like they say, we're never really healed from our trauma and our triggers. We're just, we get better at managing them. So you're never going to be like, never have a trigger, but maybe instead of it bothering you for 3 days at a time, it bothers you for 3 hours and then 30 minutes and you kind of recover. Okay. And remember too, they're saying it's with the family stuff that's ongoing. It may be a result of that person having their trauma around this time of year. And so then it bleeds into everybody else. And when there's enmeshment and everything else, then you get that. So, but it just feels like you're going to think this is terrible. But by year 8 of the marriage, it feels like there's a better handle on it, which is not reassuring when you're not in year 8. But that's what it feels like. Do you have a black kitty? There's a black kitty circling your feet. It sounds like someone put on some of my high heels upstairs. It's a short stride. All right, that makes sense. I don't think you're in a bad place. It's probably your gray kitty. It just looked like a dark kitty circling your feet. I don't feel like you're in a bad place. I just feel like you're in a, pardon my English, what the fuck phase, like what the fuck is going on phase, and when's it going to get better? Or is it going to get better? And I don't feel like fighting, screaming, blah, blah, blah. I feel like hesitation to communicate. I wonder if that's April. Okay. All right. And then from there, what? Okay. You're very welcome. All right, Dune, I'm going to add you. Devery, do you want to ask your questions? I put question marks instead of what a ding ding. Okay. You're welcome. I did. I just wanted to make sure you were here. Okay, so the first one, and I said, I don't know, did you hear me talking to Chaylee? That's sort of why I was talking about it. I'm pulling up the questions really quick. Let me do it this way. Oh, Regina, I gotcha. I just want to pull up your question so I'm reading it correctly. Okay, so this is where I was talking about. Okay. I was talking to Chaylee and we were talking about self-concept, or I was talking, she was listening. I sort of talk at you guys. Sorry about that. So it was just a lot about, because the first question you asked is like, is it going to get better? Basically, I moved and nothing has changed. I have seen this happen with a lot of my clients. Well, not a lot. Any of my clients who are like, they're having a hard time. They're having a hard time in relationships. They're having a hard time with work people. They're having a hard time finding their happiness, and they move and they're like, it's the same. It's like the same group of people, different space. I've had it happen to myself. And I didn't come to New York to be with new people, or because I'm like, it'll be better there. I just thought I'm really interested in seeing what it's like to live there. I'm feeling called. So this is why I'm like, I want you to be able to ask another question, because this one is going to be the same thing I've told you before. It's like really like doing the affirmations. I am powerful. I am a good person. I'm friendly. I saw a therapist say this, and I thought, oh, would be a really good way to learn to write your affirmations about yourself. Is she said one thing she does for therapy is she has her clients, when they're working through their trauma and their stuff, is write a letter to each person, like basically saying, or have like pretending they're that person, saying all the things that you want them to say about you or to you. But I think about you really, like, so like you want your friends to be like, oh, you're the best person ever. I love hanging out with you. I really appreciate you. You're so whatever. I mean, I don't care if somebody says I'm the best person ever. Just, I appreciate you. I'm good. Yes, you can think on your question, but your second one I'm going to answer. So it just feels like the idea of me saying to you, it takes 6 months of really digging in and being consistent with reprogramming your thoughts and listening to the things at night. Like Dylan James has some nice ones, and they're nice and slow, and his voice is not too grating, at least for me. Somebody else may not like them. doing that work and being really aware of, like I talked about yesterday, I posted a video on my TikTok that I said, I listen to Joe Dispenza. I like Joe Dispenza. I like him a lot because he's not super uber spiritual. He's just like talks about your thoughts and your brains and that we create our reality. And he said, you know, you're stuck in the program if every morning you wake up and do the exact same thing. So like when people are like, how do I know if it's changing or whatever? If you're waking up every morning and you're still rolling over and grabbing your phone and reading whatever, or thinking immediately like, ugh, it's a terrible day. No one's going to like me again. Like whatever that thought is, then you're stuck in the program. You're stuck in like your subconscious creating your life. And it's a subconscious you don't want. So you have to reprogram that. How do you reprogram it? Decide that, oh, like I noticed one of the things I noticed, I was always saying like, oh, I'm so tired. And so instead of like, I knew I couldn't lie to myself because I feel like that's such a fight when you go, oh, I'm not tired. I'm so awake and lively. And you're like, but when you're in that stage of still feeling really tired, you're like, that's a fucking lie. And I can't do that. So I say, and pardon my swearing, if anybody is offended, I apologize, but I do swear. And I have for a really long time because I was a feral child. So, what I started saying was, because it didn't feel like a lie and I didn't feel like I was fighting against that energy, is I'm ready for the day. That felt more digestible and believable. That I was like, if I can believe this, then like, okay. So then what happened is it tipped off to where I was like, oh, I started paying attention to when I was tired, why I started looking at my diet. I started looking at a whole lot of stuff. So I believe on the way our brains work is that once we decide something is important, our brain starts filtering for solutions to solve that and to make that show up. So like I've listened to Joe Dispenza a lot over and over and over again. I have listened to that same thing. He says like he regurgitates the same stuff, and then people post the same conversations and interviews he does. I had listened to it and I hadn't heard that bit. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's like, keep doing them. Don't stop. And guess what? I've been doing them and I don't stop. Just because I started feeling better doesn't mean I stopped. And then because then you like kind of fall back and you're like, oh, I'm feeling really good. Like I don't have to work so hard anymore. But you do. You have to go in and pick the weeds, like out of the, like you have to go in and refresh the path. Like you can't just leave it because it will get overgrown with all the negative stuff. And it comes in really weird ways. Like I keep hearing that soundbite from Taylor Swift's song, I'm the Problem. That's the worst thing. And I'm like, God. And then on my neurodivergent brain, like I will repeat things over and over and over and over in my head. I don't have echolalia. I have like the one where it's like thoughts. It drives me nuts because I'm like, that is one I don't want in my head. And it makes me feel worse. So hang on. I've been doing the affirmations and manifestations, so I'm not understanding that. Don't even worry about the manifestation part of it. Just affirm. Speak kindly to yourself. Well, it's not. That's a defensive response to say that. To the point of doom is for years and hopefully something will happen. That's a defensive response, and I understand it because I know where you're at right now. It will change how you receive life and how you appreciate life. I don't know any other way to put it, but it's like it does change stuff. It doesn't mean you never have a hard time again. It doesn't mean you don't ever feel sad again. It doesn't mean that shitty people don't come into your life or shitty things don't happen. But it does mean that you go, I don't have to tolerate your shitty behavior. And I'm not less of a person just because you showed up in my life. Right? It doesn't mean that your opinion of me holds any weight just because you said I wasn't good enough. Like, okay, not good enough for you. I'm telling you, 4 years ago when I started these, had Chaley come on here and said something nasty to me, I would have felt like the worst person in the world. I would have felt like a total piece of crap and felt horrible. And like, I shouldn't even be doing these. And no, I started doing the affirmations. Does it mean somebody doesn't come in and be mean to you? No, it's just you go, oh, that's not about me. And I hope you have a better day. It sucks when you're in the spot you're at. And I say it sucks because it sucks to pull yourself out. When you do healing work, it is not easy. It is not fun, and it is not for the faint of heart. It sucks. Flat out, it sucks. It's hard. And I was thinking about doing a series about like, oh, the things I wish I would have known when I walked into this before I started doing spiritual work and like healing myself. It's fucking lonely at times. It is fucking lonely and bleak at times. But I feel better about myself. And I know that I am not a horrible person because things aren't showing up exactly the way I want. It's just like sometimes it takes time. And I was even like frustrated the other day. I was like walking into my basement. I was walking to get something for one of my daughters. Yes.
Can you and me have a private moment?
But I'm in the middle of doing readings. What's going on, Bugaboo?
It's just I want a private room.
Can you tell me what your private stuff is later?
No.
I just can't walk away from this right now.
Why?
Because people have paid me money to answer questions.
Oh.
Yeah. Is Daddy home?
No.
He's not? He's not home yet? Are you sure? Or did you just not see him come in?
I did not see him.
Okay.
Mom, can you?
No, I'd rather you not play with these scissors because those ones are super duper sharp.
Can I just see?
You can. I'm in the middle of these readings. Can you let me finish these? Because now I'm being rude.
No. Can I go in?
No. I'd rather you not.
No.
Did they see your hair? They did. I think so. Okay, can you go upstairs now, please? I know. Here, whisper in my ear.
Mom,
Okay, but
I forgot.
okay, go get a little treaty. I'll be done soon.
Okay.
Okay.
2 or 1?
2 is okay, but as long as they're small. Oh!
Mommy.
I love you. I know you don't want to keep hearing that. And that's why I said this isn't a question that but that's what happens when somebody moves and it's like it's always the same thing showing up. It's not like you're a terrible person and the person. So this is one thing I said is like, remember I said the mirror thing is not people showing up that way because you're horrible. It's like if you don't believe that you're worthy and deserving of having boundaries and having people respect you and having like people treat you kindly, then you tolerate a lot more. And so those people keep showing up and like it's like this struggle. And I know that doesn't sound great, but when you have a lot of trauma, it's like it's a whole unpacking and it's a whole like it's continued work. It's not a one time and then I'm done. And I hate that's why when I saw that thing, I was like, oh, because it's the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. And I don't have anything different for you on that. I also know that you're in a better place now than you were before. And I've been doing affirmations for years and I keep doing them because I do feel better when I do them. And it's easier for me to set boundaries now. And I never could do that before. And I know that like somebody not liking me is not because I'm a terrible, horrible person and I'll never figure it out. It's because like that's their shit. Like if I know that I'm not intentionally being mean to somebody and they just still don't like me, that's them. That's not me. And I know it sucks to keep hearing this. And it's not something that's magical that happens overnight. It is a time process thing. Because for years, think about all the thoughts you've had where you just fall asleep feeling like garbage about yourself. Like, well, if I just would have done this, if I just would have held my face just right, it would have been different. If I would have just shown up in this whatever instead of that outfit, like it would have been different. Or if I just wouldn't have said anything, if I would just keep my mouth shut a little bit more, I'd be more palatable. I wouldn't tell you that that's what was going on if I didn't think that's what was going on. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I still get triggered. But I get triggered for less amount of time. And then there's all this refinement that happens where you're like, oh, well, like I could probably think about this a little differently. I know you're lonely. I think, and this again, this isn't the psychic part. I think like part of for me was also shifting expectations of like, what do I really think this is supposed to look like? Well, why do I have this idea that it should look like that? Is that a reasonable expectation? Like, I think sometimes we're fed stuff and we're like, we know they're movies, or we know it's a cartoon, or we know it's I don't know why I said cartoon, a TV show or whatever. But yet, that is a way of programming your subconscious brain. And that's why I said I think a couple weeks ago I was like talking about, I don't know if you were here for this. There's a Maid of Honor with Patrick Dempsey, and I throw on movies that I've seen a million times because that's a neurodivergent thing and I watch the same shit over and over. But I throw those on a lot of times just because it's like sort of like comfort food for my brain. And I just looked at it a little differently as a 44-year-old woman who's been married and done a lot of the healing work. And I was like, wow, like we get fed this in movies over and over and over again as a rom-com. So it's just pretend. So, but like, and it's bullshit, but it's like still like you see it from a different perspective where I'm like, wow, like he had this woman who's a really good friend and she's amazing and beautiful. And he's like, oh, can't be emotionally connected with anybody and have sex with them, God forbid. And so like she goes off and she falls in love with this guy who seems like another like in love with her in less than 6 weeks and wanting to marry her. Like that's a whole other dysfunctional story in and of itself. But like then this guy's like, oh wait, I have to win her back. I love her now. Like now I get it. And we're taught that that's romantic. And I'm like, does anybody just like not see the massive amounts of dysfunction in there? And that gets programmed subconsciously into our brain. I don't know. So when are you going to meet someone? I have to say this. You asked something about buying a house. I don't feel buying a house, but I feel like a individual family home. I feel like either a condo or a townhome or something like that around the age of 40. A lot of that has to do with some kind of finances coming in, but also some kind of new, not government assistance, but like laws that go into place that make like it may be part of some kind of reparations, or it may be some kind of like law against, I'm hearing like, I don't know if it's discrimination or what it is. Hi, Joel. Sure, that's fine. So it's there's something new coming in within the next 5 years or so, 4 to 5 years, with the way they change the way they do mortgages, loans, and then also the way they're allowed to sell properties and interest rates. There's something, I don't know. I don't understand all of that, but it's like that's where it becomes like to your advantage to do it then, like because of coming into money. What the hell is going on here? Like one random really long hair. I know you weren't asking. Oh, I thought you said something about like, hang on, let me look at it. Let me go back and look at it. Sorry, I have children, in case you didn't know. Just, as my dad used to say, full of piss and vinegar today. You said your second question is one. Will my path get better? Do you see my career finally start, or me buying a home, or moving for better opportunities? I just need something. So that's okay, but I'm just answering it like, so first of all, I do want to say, like you said at the end, I feel pathetic. You aren't pathetic. I genuinely feel like our whole system is set up to make people feel terrible about themselves. So then they buy into like all the corporate purchasing. I fully believe that. Just like, it's hard for me not to believe that at this point after doing so many readings and just observing the absurdity of our world. I do feel like you purchasing a property, but it feels like about 5 years out. And it doesn't feel like an individual, like single family home. It feels like either a condo or a townhome. And it feels nice. It's lighter color on the outside. It's not stucco, but it's like lighter color. And it may be a 2-story, or because I see like I see it the way like my friend lives in a townhome and hers is, it feels like that same kind of setup. So I asked then, I was like, does she have kids at that point? And I don't know that you do at that point. But I feel like, and I asked about a partner, it's like, you may not want to hear it this way, but it's this feeling of like having somebody, and it's a long-term partner, but it also feels like maybe not necessarily wanting the marriage aspect of it, just wanting the partnership and the companionship, but not, maybe not even living together. And it makes me feel like my husband's cousin, she and her partner have been together for years, and he didn't, I don't know if he lives with her now, but he didn't live with her for a very long time, but they were good with that. Like she's always said, I need my space. And it's this feeling of like really enjoying your empowerment. I see like everything is really like, the energy is really light. Everything feels better. And it just feels like I'm in a much better space. But I don't know where it happens in between there and now. I still feel like you're going to be in where you're at. I don't feel moving. I didn't say you don't live with partner or kids. It's just this feeling. It might be that um it's just that feeling. I can't tell you why they're showing it me that way. I don't understand it. I've been where you're at, where you're like, when am I getting married? When's it all going to happen? Da, 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 da. There's so many things where I'm like, when is this happening? Because I'm doing the work. I did a reading for a woman who I went to high school with. I didn't really know her. I knew of her in high school because it wasn't a huge school, but I didn't know her. And I said to her, I see this partner and somebody from your past coming in. And I described the woman, blah, blah, blah. Well, she's marrying somebody else I went to high school with. We were all in the same grade together. I knew both of those things. My guides didn't show me both people. They didn't show me that I knew the person that she's marrying. They could have easily pulled into my brain bank and said, it's this person. They didn't. I don't know why they don't show me the things the way they do. I don't know why they're showing me this particular scene. I just said, does she have kids at the time? And it's just this feeling of, I don't know. I see a dog, a little dog, and it's this feeling of, I have a partner, but I don't know what it means. Okay. I'm going to say this. I do not make up bullshit stories for you guys. I don't tell you everything that you want to hear all the time. There are going to be readers that do that. I can only tell you what I'm getting. If you don't like it, I'm very sorry. I might not be the reader for you. I just may not be the reader for you, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that too. Hi, Cookie. All right, Allie, your questions. Regine. And then I need to see who else. I've got Joelle on here, but I don't know if there's anybody. Dune. Any of you guys, if you want to ask your questions, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Regine. There's been a lot of people making their transition lately. Oh. Okay, Allie. Allie, I read Dunes and the answer came to me like so quickly. So I want to focus on that real quick and then I'm going to come back to yours because I feel like I have to close my eyes on yours. So Dune, immediately I just felt like, not mad, but frustrated. I do feel like, so I was like kind of asking about why I feel like you feel like I feel like you feel like you cannot, you've tried setting boundaries other ways and this feels like the only way to set the boundary. I feel like she receives it as, I know. I feel like she receives it as such a slight against her. Like, um, poor me, like always the victim, like how you've wronged her. And I do feel like she's taking the kids into account and saying more like they're so traumatized by this, but I don't think they are because I do feel like you still communicate with the children. I would lean towards using the term manipulator than liar personally. Like that's like where I go. So I feel like you do communicate with her, but it's text only or it's in writing. It doesn't feel like there's a verbal communication. Um, so mad. I mean, honestly, like this is the feeling I get is that, like it plays into her story so much, it's like almost to her benefit. like, um, like it works in her favor because she can then drag on about like, oh, how terrible he is. So terrible. June is so terrible to me. So it garners her sympathy, but like it's like nah, but like who cares? I'm I'm sure she is both. I'm not negating what you're saying. I just like the way I feel the personality is more manipulation than lying. I'm not saying she doesn't lie. It's just like it feels like I feel like she believes her own lies, but it feels like it's done out of a manipulative thing. So I'm not saying you don't. It's just to me, I'm like, I just feel a lot of manipulation. So what can you do? Nothing. Um, it does feel like everything should be in writing. And everything should be just really, and then it's like you can't control what she says to other people. She's getting her own little feed off of it. I know she has your kids. You keep in contact with your children, talk to your kids, communicate with your kids, make plans, and then make sure she knows about them so that like everything can be in agreement. But everything in writing with her feels like really important that is in writing, so that she can't come back and say like, "Oh, well, we talked about this and we agreed upon." You're like, "Right, in writing, we agreed upon." Um, uh, I don't know if one of them is 16 or if it's like when they're 16, it just feels like as they get older, they start to see who she is. So it's that idea of remaining the consistent parent, not talking bad about her ever, showing up for them, making the phone call, making going the extra mile, like, like you heard they don't feel good, give them a call. How you feeling? Like stay in contact with them, be there for them, be the support for them, maintain really healthy strong boundaries with her, everything in writing. And she's going to go through her emotional whatever, and she's going to do it and get like, oh, June is such a terrible person. It's like you can't control what she tells other people and you can't control what other people believe about you, but you can maintain a good relationship with your kids. And regardless of whatever she says, at some point they'll see who she is. Um, I don't know that anybody will ever live with you, but I just feel like developing a much closer relationship as they get a little bit older. Your son is 16. Okay. So they see who she is. And it just sucks. I just want to acknowledge that like I say that a lot. It sucks. And there's not any way to make that nicer. Your ex is probably a covert narcissist. And they tend to like, that's what happens. So hopefully your kids are in therapy or exploring the idea of like what that growing up like that is. Um, I don't feel like angry. I feel like it just feels like more material. But also like you can't live your life for your ex. So would you not get married because she would get angry? I would hope not. I would hope that you would not worry about whether or not she's angry at you or not. If I were you, I would research covert narcissists and how to deal with them and sort of even just how their behavior is. Um, it will help you not worry so much, but you have to be a little further out of that abuse in order to like not be so fearful of it. I don't think she'll treat your kids badly. I I think she treats your kids badly in the sense of manipulating them too, but I don't think she's gonna I don't my sense is not any more than she already does. That's why it's important for you to remain the consistent parent and know that there's a safe space even though you're far away. Sorry. But you can't think that she's just one way with you and not with them. And that's not me being psychic. That's just human behavior. Um, she does her own things with them to manipulate them. But again, I feel like the 16-year-old especially is like sort of seeing it. No, Autumn, you can ask a question. Okay. All right, let's move on. Allie, you wanted uh, a boyfriend question? She uses everybody as some form of an ATM. Maybe not money, but emotions, energy. Those people usually do. And it is exhausting and it is infuriating once you figure it out. Um, you're welcome. I wish I could, hope it gets better. It is really dark outside. Okay. So, Allie, you want to know about your boyfriend? I've got you, Autumn. I'll add you to the list. Regine, you want to ask your questions too? Oh, I might have spelled your name wrong. So some of you, Regine, have I been right about what the financial stuff? Because I feel like you've asked me that all, and so I'm just looking for validation. No, it wasn't. I'm just trying to find. Okay. I don't remember what I said. I'm just looking at because I'm like, why do we I like Devery's thrown me for a loop. But that's why, like, when you ask me the same things over and over, I'm like, this is what I'm getting. I can't alter until you say, like, this is, I can't tell you guys for how many years I would get, like, he's just a friend. He's just a friend. He's just a friend. Like, and now it's like, oh, you're gonna be so successful and blah, blah. And I'm like, how much patience can we have? I know where you're at. I've been where you're at. I get it. Like, and it fucking sucks being on this end telling you the same thing over and over again. It's not, it's like, but I can't give you something that I'm not getting. And I won't lie to you. And that's probably my neurodivergence because it's like, it feels like all the gears stop and I'm like, can't move forward. Like it's so off if I, okay, Allie wants to know about a boyfriend, and then there's a second one, and I feel like I'm having a weird time accessing the PayPal, so I have to look at what this list is really at, where we're at. Allie, boyfriend. Allie, where do you plan on meeting a boyfriend if you don't go out? So I feel like you go to work and you hang out with friends it's like hanging out with friends that I've always hung out with, but I feel like there's nothing, I'm not going to date any of those people. And not really putting myself out there. So I'm going to tell you this, that like the movies, they don't just like fall in your lap. I've only known one person has had their person show up on their doorstep, and that was my aunt, and she married her contractor. But I don't know anybody who hasn't energetically put themselves out there and received. So when things change in my life, it's like I go, okay, I'm really ready to release this. Again, it's like my brain starts filtering for that and finding solutions. So when it's health stuff, my brain starts filtering, going, oh, like I start paying attention to it. It's not like I've never ever been introduced to certain things. So it just feels like I really need to like, I think what I would look at it differently because I had those same fears going into dating. Like, I don't want to date somebody like my father. I don't want to marry someone like my father. Can you tell I like my father? Like all of these things are I'm not valuable, I'm not worthy, but I didn't say it to myself in those things. It's like, oh, I'm such a mess. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Whatever followed was really terrible and horrible. And I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not interesting enough. It's hard for me to carry the conversation, blah, 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 blah. And I was always the really easygoing person. Why? Because if I just did what everybody else liked, then everybody was happy. Except for me. You will be monumentally miserable if you do that. So it just feels like putting yourself out there and knowing like you don't have to look like a certain type to be beautiful. You can just be beautiful just by being you. You're beautiful. You're smart, you're funny, you're interesting, you're kind, you're caring. And if one person doesn't see it, don't let that devastate you. It doesn't mean you're not valuable. It means that person isn't in the same vibration as you, and you'll meet someone who's the same vibration. But you sort of have to go through those shitty things to go like, oh yeah, and then the one pops up. It's not that I don't see anyone. I just feel like you're not really putting yourself out there. So how are you going to meet anybody if you're not? I mean, can you honestly say you're putting yourself out there? Okay. So number one, energetically, universe, I'm ready. I know that it's safe for me to meet someone and it's okay for me to get rejected. Like go through that like it's okay to be in a relationship, it's okay not to be in a relationship. Like it's a mind that's a mind thing for you for healing your mind is like doing the opposites. It's okay for me to be in a relationship, it's okay for me to be not be in a relationship. It's okay for me to be in love, it's okay for me to not be in love. Um it's okay for someone to like me, it's okay for somebody to not like me. Because it is okay. It's not like you're not less of a person because someone doesn't want to date you. They're usually chachas anyway. Um, I'm gonna tell you, like I told my chiropractor who would be like, "Where is she? Where is she?" I'm like, I don't know. They're in your energy field. I just don't know where they are. I don't understand. This is what I kept getting, and then it just kept getting more and more. It was like I'd be like, it feels like 6 months, and then they'd get there, and he's like, it's not like what's going on. I'm like, I don't know. He's married now. He met someone. He's got a baby. Um, It's totally okay to say that. That's putting yourself out there, but you have to decide, I'm ready to meet someone. And so, like, when you decide you're ready to meet someone on your online profile, just put who you are. Don't put what you think a guy would like. Put who you are. Save yourself a lot of time and energy. Be sarcastic if you're sarcastic. If you like hanging out at home and you like doing homebody things, say that. I'm a homebody. I like going out occasionally, but I'm kind of a homebody. Say that because energetically they'll read if you're comfortable with yourself or not. And do the speed dating stuff. I feel like the person lives in New York City. So I think you're north of the city. Um, I will say I do think this is a hard period of time for like the next year to year and a half for people meeting people because energetically it feels like we are in massive flux, and that has more to do with like the balancing of the energies of divine and masculine, the divine feminine and masculine, and that's not about male or female, that's about our upper chakras and our lower chakras. They've been really out of balance, and everybody, male and female, non-binary, transgender, everybody are starting to figure that out and balance it. And that after that, it feels like it gets easier, but it feels like there is a group of people that are a bit more stunted to developing emotionally because it's hard and it doesn't feel good. It is hard and it doesn't feel good, but it feels good once you're on the other side of it. What's Mid Hudson? I don't know what that is. But I feel like he's in Manhattan or maybe the Bronx, but feels Manhattan. Um, they're not giving me a time, just like they didn't give me when I told you the story about the woman I know, and I knew both of the women, but they weren't showing me this other woman. They were just showing me what she looked like in around age range and that this woman's from her past and she already knew her. Um, I know you're further than that. I said that's where I feel like he's at. Um, What's your second question? I'm leading into feeling like something's coming up where you might actually end up working more in the city. So I don't know if it's an internship or what might be. Yeah, I know where New Paltz is. It's not that far of a way. I mean, it's a train ride. It's a doable train ride. Also, this idea of like my soulmate, my perfect partner, I don't know that that exists for most of us. I really think it's just the person that's going to help you grow and move and change. And I don't know. Isn't that the one I said I didn't think it was him? And it was super okay for you to say that, Cindy. Okay, let's keep moving. Yeah, what's your second question? When will you have kids? I'm getting two numbers, and so I hear like 5 to 6 years, but then I hear 32. So I don't know if that means you're having one in 5 to 6 years and then one at age 32 or what, or I don't know. I don't think you'll have 5 to 6 children. I do know that. You're 33. For some reason, I was thinking you were much younger. Your energy feels younger. So then maybe it's the 5 to 6 years. What's with the 32 then? Oh, he might be a slight bit younger than you. I feel like he's a computer guy. For what it's worth. I'm sorry. I can be wrong. Please, I can be wrong. I told you. I don't know why. I can only tell you what I get. And I don't know why. Just like with my chiropractor, he'd ask me and I was finally like, stop asking me because I don't know. I feel her around and I know you're going to get married. Like, I know you'll be with someone. I know you'll have children. I don't know why the time is off. So when you're asking about kids and what the timing is at, I got 5 to 6 years, but then there was something about 32. So I don't know if he's younger or, oh, I'm sorry. Just a dating advice. Energetically, do not walk into every relationship and be like, maybe this is the one. It puts like a weird pressure on it. And energetically, that comes out. Like, it could be, or maybe it is him and you just haven't started dating yet. Like, I don't know. It's weird the way I get stuff. So I will say this, maybe, when you think like, oh, what if he's the one, or like just need someone to be like, oh, they're interesting. I enjoy spending time with them. He's cute, whatever. Like, I like him. Don't worry about if he's the one and you're going to marry him. I know that's easier said than done, but like, just have fun and see where it goes. Take the pressure off, because even if you never say that to him, energetically it comes out. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, some of this needs to be like when I said to this woman that I read for, and I was like, I see someone from your past coming and that's who you're going to marry. And I knew both of them. I knew both of them. I have them both in my bank that it would be easily for them to be like, oh, she's going to marry this girl. They didn't. They did not show me that at all. They showed me someone with featured characteristics, but did not show me her at all. Because if I had said that, maybe she would have been like, oh, I should just look her up and start stalking her. And like energy gets weird. And maybe they're kind of like, we need to make sure this one's okay. So maybe when the person comes in, it's not going to be obvious that it's them. I don't know. Sometimes they save us from ourselves. I'm just saying. And like, there's times where people are like, well, what do they do? What's their personality? What do they look up? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. They won't tell me. I don't know. Because you're going to act like a ding dong if you knew it. I would. Like if I knew, like I might flub it up instead of just having there be actual energy to it. Okay. So just chill. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's not. Get to know him. Have fun. We're all human. Like we all, like, I don't think that I'm sitting here from some like spiritual aspect and never understanding. Like, I get it. I've been in all those spots. When am I going to have kids? Am I going to have kids? Like, blah, blah, blah. I had dreams about having kids before I had them. I still go to bed at night. I'm like, all right. One of my guides is Lou. I'm like, hey, Lou, I'm manifesting big success. I am manifesting lots of money coming in for businesses. Help me out. And some of it is like, get your ass in gear, be a little bit more active. And some of it is like, be patient. And it sucks. Both of those suck. So I get it. The patience thing sucks. All of it sucks. Humaning sucks. But also think of it this way. And then I'm going to move on because I'm just rambling. Look at somebody who look at Elon Musk. Richest man in the world, billions and billions of dollars. And he's literally in that position to be able to just make anything happen, right? Like he's in that, as if this is a game, he's got the magical power thing that he can get through things unscathed. I also think that we sort of create some things to create drama or create a little bit more excitement, because if it was so easy, it would be boring. Like when you play video games and they're really, really easy, if you always had that, it would be boring. I think that we subconsciously like the little bit of chaos, just saying. So I think that there's supposed to be a little bit of that, because if we didn't have it, we'd be like nothing to compare it to of the excitement, right? It'd be like boring. It'd be like, oh yeah. Like they did studies on kids that could have anything. It's like there was no enjoyment of or no appreciation, because it's like, oh, I can just get another one. Who cares? All right, move forward. Regine, you wanted to ask about finances. And what was the other thing you wanted to ask about? You're welcome, Allie. Thank you for your patience with me. I appreciate you. Let me just check my PayPal because I just want to see where we're at. Okay. Okay. You're welcome. Okay. So Regine, finance is coming up. Wait, what was the time frame you wanted, Regine? Do you have a time frame you want me to look at? Just coming up. Okay. All right. I'm asking this because I'm being shown a graph with two lines, streams of income, because one of them I see, I don't know why they're being specific about this date, December 9th. So that might be the end of that, but it feels like it's one of them is plateauing and then going up. My eyes got really big on that. And the other one is like up and up and up. It's like a steady up. Or do you have an investment property? Oh, really? Thank you. That is so awesome. Report. There we go. Okay. Report. There we go. Okay. No, I want to report you. There we go. It is a bot. In fact, those are like the only things that usually comment on my videos are like porn. And I'm like, report. And I don't have enough. Like some people I'll see, they'll like leave all those comments in probably because they just don't like it. There's so many comments they can't filter through it. And I'm like, but I can. And it doesn't help me. But do you have 2 streams of income? Wait, it's off course or I don't know. Not yet. Do you have an investment property? Or are you starting something around December 9th? Like, do you have something you're launching? So I don't know why December 9th seems important. Please tuck that away in your little bonnet. And I don't know why I said bonnet. I don't know if you wear bonnets. But you know, like tuck it away in your bonnet, a bee in your bonnet. I don't know why. Anyway. Like just keep a little note in your noggin. December 9th. Maybe an opportunity shows up itself, and maybe that's why it's like this and then taking off. They're talking about your Netflix account. So I don't know if you're getting double billed or if you're like something's going to have to be switched or rearranged with that. Oh, so you'll have 2 streams of income. When do you start in the law firm? You started a week ago? Is there something with that job around December that would like where you would start getting an increase there? Like you have a lower pay here and start getting an increase there? I'm really looking to validate what I'm seeing more than I'm like, because I see this and then for whatever reason it was like December 9th. Or did you start on November 9th? December 9th seems important. No, that wouldn't be right. My voice went really high and weird. I do. I feel like your boss, I see a man. It feels like very good at not micromanaging. So giving you an idea of what needs to be done and then like sort of letting you do your job because you know what you're doing. Which is refreshing in a way. And I feel like that person's really easygoing too. Like friendly, funny. I don't want to say like not serious because they are serious about their job and the work, but they're not like they don't take things too seriously. That doesn't things that don't need to be taken seriously. Oh, okay. So you started on 11/9. Okay. That might help me with the 9. Um, okay. So I'm asking about will you be leaving the other job? And I feel like there might be a year overlap and then you might leave the other job. It seems weird, but it just feels like there's a longer overlap maybe than expected, but I also feel like that has a lot to do with it'll get to the point where you have to just focus on one. Okay, what's your second question? Do you have something coming up where you either are at like so they said you're going to need to slow down soon, which is weird when we just talked about that. But I feel like I saw a ball and then they're showing me your left foot. So do you have an old injury that you're finally getting treated? Or I don't necessarily feel like surgery, but to feel maybe. Or did you hurt your foot? Okay. Um, do you have like it is healing? So it may just be that like it may just be a slight setback, like where you need a little bit more PT or you I don't know. Is it like the ball like your left big toe, like the ball of your foot? Because that's kind of the area I'm being pulled to. That's why the ball made. uh, Don't shoot the messenger. It might be really related to your shoes that create that need. So, like when I wore certain shoes, my plantar fasciitis would always flare up. So, take it for what it's worth, right? Like pardon my socks, the ball. I'm wearing sweatpants, and um, it just feels like might need a little bit of like it might be just a lot of stress on your feet. So it might just be that's all. That's what I'm getting really. So preemptively prevent that. I like when people laugh in Spanish. um So prevent that. You know what I mean? Like make sure you're wearing good supportive shoes with a nice wide toe box, because the more pointy your shoes, the more squished your toes are, the less supported your foot is. Um, right? So just the thought. That's all they're showing to me right now is to watch for that. Otherwise, I feel like you're doing fine. And they're saying watch your sugar, because all I can taste is like sweet, sweet icing in my mouth. So maybe you're overindulging for the holidays. I don't know. Okay, Joelle, if you want to ask your question, and then Autumn, and then I am out of here. You're very welcome, Regine. Hi, Megan. Welcome. I'm just about to wrap up this week, but if you follow me, I come on again every week. So give me a follow, and if you hit the bell, I go live pretty much every Sunday. I'm also over on TikTok too, so you can check me out there under my _spiritual_friend. Joelle, general update. Okay, on love. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for popping in. Did you just meet someone, or I feel like whoever this is feels like they're around you and maybe just in a friendly manner now. So maybe it's like your brother's friend or something like that, but it just feels like whoever's going to be romantically involved with you starts as just friends, or just like, so I feel like I'm talking to them about work stuff, or I'm talking about this business venture I'm going into. They're like, the idea seems far-fetched right now or impossible, but it's, you already know him, is the feeling I'm getting right now. So it's this idea of not rushing it, just enjoying it. And because again, it's like the process of it needs to unfold the way it's unfolding. Um, I do feel like there's mutual attraction, but it's not like the idea of like, let's get it on. You know what I mean? It's just, and even if you were to say to him, like, let's date, he'd feel a little uncomfortable right now. Then maybe that's why that's not in the same country makes it a little hard. I don't feel like that'll always be the case, but I don't get a time of when that won't be the case. He feels tall. So just be friends. Just be friends for right now, because it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be anything more right now. Is this one of your brother's friends? Does that make sense when I'm saying that? Oh, he's the same name as your brother. Okay, that's why I'm like, why do I keep saying like your brother? Like that feeling of your brother's friend or brother, something with your brother. Okay, that makes sense then. So just be friends. I don't know that he'll be dating that person that much longer. I don't think like a couple weeks or anything, but like I don't feel like it's years and years and years. Okay. So just stay friends and just like let everything kind of happen. And I know the psychic's supposed to tell you different, but like that's just the feeling I get is like it's not meant to be more at this point in time, and everything has to unfold the way it does. So, okay. Um, I don't feel anyone new. Honestly, because it feels like you could go on dates, but I feel like you're just ho hum about it. So it's why. It's that why feeling like you're welcome. So if you want to focus on job, let's focus on job. You don't like your job and you're feeling a bit stuck and you're trying to be hopeful. I feel like by the spring of next year, you'll be doing something different. And I feel like it's not completely different. So, like, say you're doing marketing for a construction firm, I feel like you'll do marketing for, I don't know if it's a restaurant or a food thing, but it's like, it just feels like I go from like something like not so exciting and bright and happy to something that's lighter, happier, brighter. So, two totally different industries, but still doing like sort of the same thing. You can. 6 months feels like a really long time, but to be a little new agey, it flies by. Like it's time is like sped up for some weird reason. Like I truthfully can't believe that we're almost all the way through 2022 already. Like I just feel like it was just New Year's. You won't be there forever. At 6 months at most. Um, I think no matter what, you're leaving that job. So I just think at most 6 months. I keep getting pointing towards like April, springtime. And I do feel like you'll be working somewhere else. Where did you apply to school? Does it have anything to do with oranges? Is it in either California or Florida? Well, I saw like a white with like some kind of square on it and an orange. So I don't know what that has to do with where you're working. I said, you're applying to school? Oh, Columbia University. So maybe you get a job, I don't know, working for like a company that does with like fitness or health or vitamin C. I'm just kidding. But to me, when I think of like the orange and the brightness of it, it feels more health related and more like mentally feels better and energetically light. And the reason why, that's why I asked California or Florida, because I said, is the school that way? You work with Sloan Kettering now. So I said, I don't know that this is what you do. This is the feeling I get. Like I'm going from working somewhere like construction, feeling not great, not happy, to something light and airy. So maybe you go, if you're working for Sloan Kettering now, maybe you end up working at a dermatology office. Like that's a pretty cush job. No offense to anybody who works in dermatology. If you're like, oh, that's like, but like they have set hours. They don't work holidays and weekends. You're not really getting sick patients at a derm office. You're getting derm patients. Or maybe you go and work for a plastic surgeon. Again, you're not working holidays and weekends. You're not working nights. And you're not really getting sick patients. So maybe it's something like that. You're still sort of doing the same thing, but in a totally different type of environment. I do feel like you'll end up at Columbia, but it might be a little bit later than you thought. So maybe you were looking to start in the spring and you start in the fall instead, the next fall. But I feel like you'll get in. You were thinking about applying to Cornell for a similar job. So maybe it's a lighter, happier. What's their, oh, it's orange and red. Okay. I know I get the stuff I get for a reason. Now I want to like look up and see what their logo is. I told you there's always some reason they give it to me the way they do. I don't always understand it. Okay. It should be back soon. What's up, Dune? Ask a question. So, okay. And then, because then I'm going to bounce off. Here. So I chose these bracelets because this connects me with spirit. This is supposed to be not being afraid to be seen. And this is negativity. It's okay to have meltdowns, just so you know. They're okay. I think everybody's afraid of them, but it moves the energy through you. Just saying. You're very welcome. You have to tell us when you hear back. I was in one of your dreams. Do tell. That's exciting. I always think it's fascinating. I always wonder, like, if we meet in the ethers, like if, like my sister and I know have had the same dream before about finding giant contact lenses on the beach. And I was like, I was talking about the dream one time. I was like, yeah, you and I were in this dream and we were like looking and there was like these big contact lenses all over the beach. And like, I was trying to put it and figure out how I was supposed to put it in my eye. Never mind the fact that like, why is it on the beach? Why am I trying to put one? What, like, and like, how do I don't even understand. And like, she told me, she goes, oh my God, I've had a contact lens dream before like that too. Oh, that's the worst. I asked God once what the secret to the universe was and I got it. And then I woke up and I didn't remember it. I was a little girl. So, Dune, I do. You also have a daughter, and it feels like around it feels kind of more like September, late summer, early fall. And there's something about the 17th. Oh, I keep giving the number 17. So maybe you leave on the 17th of a month. Maybe one of them is born on the 17th of a month. I don't want to go like, oh, it's because your son is going to be 17 because you said he's 16 now. So does he turn 17 in the fall? Like September? Around September? Because that's the only way I'm going to place it that way. In July. Because I'm feeling like August, September. So maybe when you fly out, it'll be on the 17th. There's something around the 17th, around 17. And I don't want to place it on your son because I already knew he was 16. So I feel like that's like a throwaway. Is there any way you would travel to Morocco? The first thing I heard was Morocco, and then I'm getting pulled to Ireland. So I don't know why they're so different and they're not close to each other. I don't think they are. Oh, you've been there 3 times. Have you talked about bringing them there? Is that somewhere you're looking at going? I know you have. Well, I will leave it at that. You're not decided yet. Oh, okay. So the first thing I heard Morocco, and then I also heard Ireland. So those are very different vacation destinations. Okay. All right. I will say good night. I will see you next week. I hope you enjoy your week in the meantime. Be kind to yourselves. I'll see you soon. I don't know what I'm doing here. Sorry.